First of all, I want you to know this story is a fact. It's a true story. With my hand up, if I had to die, this story's the truth. Years ago, we traveled in a van. It's a walk-in van, a big old white walk-in van. We didn't have a bus. And it was white, had our name in red across it, and it looked like a bread truck or maybe a blood mobile. As a matter of fact, we stopped in a town one time, and this is a fact, Hop, Alabama, and a guy kind of staggered up to it. We was just parked there and tried to sell me blood. But if he showed up now, I think I'd buy it. But this is a fact, what I'm telling you. That's what we traveled in, and we're singing in Florence, Alabama. And every time we'd sing there, there'd be a guy out front selling watermelon. Now, we allow watermelon to be sold at our concerts. Green beans, rutabagas, no broccoli. We hate broccoli. I think broccoli is a weed somebody worked on. But we allowed watermelons to be sold, and he was always giving us watermelon, when the show was over. And he gave us some watermelon, and we put it in that blood mobile we was in. It was partitioned off and had our beds back in the back. And I just set the two watermelon over behind the seat. And we're going down the road. It's all two-lane back to Atlanta, and I'm flying about 2 o'clock in the morning, and a pickup truck pulled out on me. The girls is in the bed. Pickup truck pulled out. By the way, let me say this. I believe there's an alien club of some kind that is organized, and I think that it's to stop the flow of America. I think you have to be over 50 to be in it, and you got to have a pickup truck. That pickup truck has got to have at least one broke chain on the back tailgate, and it's got to have one door a different color from the rest of the truck. But outside of that, it's just a normal pickup truck, and I believe they sit at intersections trying to kill people. And one of them pulled out in front of me. I slammed on the brakes, and them two watermelons come. There's a cover over a motor, in that big old van. Them two watermelons come down that aisle doing about 150 miles an hour and hit the cover on that motor, and absolutely disintegrated in that bus. I mean, they covered me from head to foot. Well, when I slammed on the brakes, Geraldine jumped up and come running up there and just stopped right in that pile of watermelon and looked at me, and there's just enough light in there to where she saw me covered in that red watermelon. And she stood there for a minute. Geraldine's got the most blood-curdling scream, as you already know. For a minute, she just sat there, and I turned around with all that watermelon just all over me, and Geraldine swooned a minute and then let out a, ah! Just as loud as she could. Well, what do you do when somebody screams and you're driving a car? You slam on the brake. I slammed on them brakes. You would think that Geraldine went down when I slammed on. Geraldine went up. Her feet and head was on a level, and she landed right in that puddle of watermelon. By then, of course, Jan had jumped up, and by then I'd got the van pulled over to the side. By then Jan had got up, and she come running up there and just came through the door 2 feet and just stopped. There I was, bleeding to death as far as Jan is concerned. Geraldine was laying in the floor. Now, I remember, this is a fact with my hand up if I had to die. Geraldine was unconscious on the floor. Geraldine fainted. Geraldine was out. If she wasn't, she really fooled us. But Geraldine was laid out on the floor. And I looked at little Jan, and she just started rocking just like this. Now, the bus has stopped. And she's just rocking like it. And I know she's ready to hit the floor. And there's no question in my mind she'd have landed right down there with Geraldine, except a piece of watermelon fell off my nose. When I ate it, she knew something. By then, Geraldine is coming too, and she's spitting watermelon seed. Well, now this is a fact, what I'm telling you, Terry, with my hand, if I had to die. So we pulled up. We're sitting there on the side of the road, and we are all drenched in watermelon, at least me and Shirley. And we sit there on the side of the road, and wasn't too long after that, police come up and just looked in the door, and I thought that guy was going to faint. He said, "What's going on?" I said, "Hey, nothing, man. We just busted some watermelon." He said, "Well, what are y'all going to do?" Eat it. What do you do? We got 2 watermelon here. let me tell you something about my dad. My dad wasn't an educated man, but my dad was a brilliant man. And I've lived my life according to what my dad always told me. My dad said, "Boy, I'm going to tell you something." He said, "Don't you ever eat a possum that's been run over by an automobile." Unless you are the one driving that automobile. He said, "You never know how long that possum been laying on that road." So I figure the same thing applies to watermelon. I busted them, I ate them.